but to your earlier point, I want to use that as a transition because so we get in on this NABJ, because you're saying like when Black people need to think before they're talking and talking about heritage and do they want her to deny, because I'm gonna show you what it leads to, and it's exactly the way Trump talked at the NABJ convention. So this is the firestorm of whenever, if y'all are following this week, whatever, it was definitely very controversial within the community of Black journalists and beyond. And I used to be a member of NABJ. Actually, I got my first job at ESPN. Definitely a good organization, has done a lot of good solid work, but there's been a lot of discussion lately over the last few years about how things are quite not the same there. And it kind of showed us its footing this week. But I want to play a little piece of people did not hear how it started. You just got to hear the first two answers to know how this whole conversation went. And then we'll spend like the last 15 minutes of this podcast just kind of getting into this NABJ conversation and springing on. All right, so let's just listen up to how this all started off.
Mr. President, we so appreciate you giving us an hour of your time. I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir. A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabid to describe Black district attorneys. You've attacked Black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking Black supporters to vote for you, why should Black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question so in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the Black population of this country. I've done so much for the Black population of this country, including employment, including opportunity zones with Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, which is one of the greatest programs ever for Black workers and Black entrepreneurs. I've done so much. And, and I say this, historically Black colleges and universities were out of money. They were stone cold broke. And I saved them and I gave them long-term financing, and nobody else was doing it. I think it's a very rude introduction. I don't know exactly why you would do something like that. And let me go a step further. I was invited here and I was told my opponent, whether it was Biden or Kamala, I was told my opponent was going to be here. It turned out my opponent isn't here. You invited me under false pretense. And then you said, you can't do it with Zoom. Well, where's Zoom? She's going to do it with Zoom and she's not coming. And then you were half an hour late. Just so we understand, I have too much respect for you to be late. They couldn't get their equipment working or something was wrong.
Mr. President, I would love
I think
if you
it's
can
a
answer
very
the question
nasty
on your rhetoric
question.
and why you
I have
believe
answered
that
the
Black voters
question.
should trust you with another
I
4
have
years.
been the best president for the Black population since Abraham Lincoln. That's my answer.
Better than President Johnson, who signed the Voting Rights Act?
And for you to start off a question and answer period, especially when you're 35 minutes late because you couldn't get your equipment to work, in such a hostile manner, I think it's a disgrace. Let me
just ask a follow-up, sir, and then we'll move on to other questions here. Some of your own supporters, including Republicans on Capitol Hill, have labeled Vice President Kamala Harris, who is the first Black and Asian American woman to serve as vice president and be on a major party ticket, as a DEI hire. Is that acceptable language to you? And will you tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it?
How do you define DEI? Go ahead. How do you define
diversity, equity, inclusion?
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Is that what your definition?
That is
give me a
literally
definition
the words
then. Would you give me a definition
DEI.
of that? Give me a definition.
Sir, I'm asking you a question, a very direct question.
Define the Define it for me, if you
I
would.
just defined it, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a black woman?
Well, I can say no. I think it's maybe a little bit different. So I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much. And she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
She has always
But you know
identified
what?
as a black woman.
I
She went to a
respect
historically
either
black
one.
college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do you believe
I
that
think
she is
somebody should look into that too when you ask continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
It's a direct question, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is a DEI hire, as some
I
Republicans
really
have
don't
said?
know. I mean, I really don't know. Could be. There are some, and there are plenty. I know this lady right over there, Harris, is a fan.
Then he goes to your girl Harris.
Big Bird, Giraffe.
So that's how this forum kicks off. And that was what Rachel Scott was asking those questions from ABC News. She's a senior congressional correspondent. You had Harris Faulkner, who's a Fox News, who is in Trump's back pocket, you know, who he kept using as an out throughout the whole conversation. And then you had Goda, first name is escaping me right now, from she's also a political correspondent who was up there. It's kind of the only, well, she did question him on immunity, which is a little conversation we get into. But brother, it made me think of that because of this labeling thing. You know, now there's able of responses like that because now conservatives are like, oh, she just became black just yesterday, you know. That's how I started. And I do want to correct some misinformation he said. That has come out. The reason that it started late is because they pressed him on fact checking. They said, we're gonna live fact check you, and his team pressed back on that, and there was a standoff, and he was refusing to come out. So for him to then to go around and blame them and say I'm late because of y'all and your audio equipment, which he kept throwing out their little shots about that doing the whole thing too as well, speaks volumes.
And they said he was leaving messages on his little platform from his airplane while they were there waiting for him.
Yes. But he respects the black people. He's been the best president since Abraham Lincoln. Opportunity zones did everything for black people. Aren't them opportunity zones booming, y'all?
That fake HBCU deal, it was very fake. They did not get all the money he's talking about.
Yes. What a way to introduce. And I say NABJ has just been a firestorm, and a lot of their credibility has been shot over this.
Well, this was a mistake from the very beginning. We had a conversation, about this. Like, you know who Donald Trump is. He's not going to change. So why would you even have? I understand he's running for president, so you have to have him. No, you don't.
You don't?
No, because he's very disingenuous. He is lying all the time.
All the time.
And he's insulting to black women, which gets on my nerves so bad. I really want to fight.
Given the history he's had with black journalists, black women journalists, and who are NABJ members, and the way he has disrespected them continuously, like y'all invite this man into your house. It is a thing, and they put out, how they invite presidential candidates and da 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 da. They do. They invited him in 2016, and he said no. Hillary came. The only reason too to put out there, and they didn't correct it. Then the whole situation with Kamala, they asked her. She was going to Sheila Lee's funeral on a flight to Texas and had a campaign thing that same night. She asked to do it virtually. They said no. Then she asked, the team said, well, at the convention, we would do a sit down. Can we do a sit down fireside chat with you? They said no. You have to be here. Like this whole thing is a mess. So now this framing, now conservatives are running with like she didn't even show up. She doesn't even want to be there. Trump is using that. They just gave him more stuff to put out there to use against us in
He's a
some wicked
fighter.
ways.
He's a lion. He goes into the tough places.
Yes.
So disgusting.
Yes. This whole thing was just so disgusting. What about that makes black? What about even those first two? Just knowing that you don't even the whole thing was just him tying everything back to illegal immigration and how that's taking black jobs. They asked him what a black job was. He was like, any job, any job. We get and I bring up the police thing in a second, but what did I don't know. Did you see any of this, Carl?
Yes.
What's the conversation you've been hearing around it?
Brothers.
That's fine. Tell that all.
Brothers. Why do we entertain this tomfoolery? What? When are we, when people show us who they are, when are we gonna take them?
Believe them the first time.
Don't we have all the information on Trump? Like, who needs to hear him for any truth about? We know. Like, we got to stop treating this like he's a regular president or this is a regular nomination. And it's not. Like, I was so disappointed.
For the life of me, I don't understand how he even became a president to begin with. I mean, he saw what he did in New York,
right?
What he's done in Florida.
If you can't win your home state, doesn't that tell you something?
Yeah.
You're not allowed back. They didn't want you back.
Let him run a nation. He was. See, the problem is he got voted in because he was a television celebrity. He was a personality on TV, kind of like Ronald Reagan was. Ronald Reagan, he was in the the same way, and you know, even though the Republicans view him as being like the greatest president ever or whatever, and now they're riding on Trump as being similar, I guess. I don't know. But for the life of me, I just don't understand how we got trapped into this deal about black jobs. Can you tell me what a black job is?
Any job.
The president of the United States, vice president, Supreme Court justice. I love that when Biden said that. That was so funny.
No, a black job is.
I know where you're going, brother. I know where you're going.
A black job is those jobs that nobody else wanted back in the day.
Yep.
Those custodial jobs.
We know what jobs he's talking about.
Essential workers, basically.
Yeah. So, why are we not more than those jobs?
Right. And then random, it just reminded me that kind of did y'all see that report that came out on Wells Fargo and the lawsuit?
Yes. And also Navy Federal as well.
They found out that in their over the last what was it like 20 years?
Yeah, like 20 plus years.
20 plus years, all these fake interviews they were doing for their diversity hires and sending people through all these rounds of interviews, and when they already had people picked out, you know, to go there and all the white folks.
Jobs that didn't even exist.
Yeah.
Like they had recs up for jobs that didn't even exist.
They do that on the corporation, man.
That happens so much.
Just to say, hey, this is a diverse candidate. Oh yeah, we put a diverse person on the hiring committee. You know, and these will be handpicked people.
Yep.
People that they don't respect or don't really care to even promote anyway. So, I mean, I see it on a daily basis, and it's just what I kind of what it touches on the point I was trying to make earlier is we can't assume that any of these people will help us.
So
we got ourselves.
It's a condition though, brother. Like we're just so, I don't know, I think people are just conditioned to rely, and they don't want to say it out loud, but they really rely on white people to they feel more comfortable if there's a white lead in doing something. I feel like black folks, and that's just the condition we've been in.
I see it all the time with our own people and our women, definitely.
Yeah.
Our women, you know, are more apt to, you know, believe a white male or a white female than they will their black man. And they're more apt to side with them than their own black men. And you know, a lot of that has stemmed from age-old discriminatory practices that happened during slavery, but at some point we got to relinquish that, and we've got to start supporting our own people and really supporting them. And I can tell you now that most black women will be more comfortable taking a job from a white man than she would from a black man.
Uh-oh, you about to make some people mad. You about to make some people mad with that statement. You're out there.
They will work for.
I'm over here quiet. I'm gonna let you go ahead and step all up in it.
Listen, I'm trying to hear this.
Company before they'll work for a black company, a black male-led company, and it's because they trust a white man, and they won't say it out loud, but their actions speak louder than words.
Well, you know, our brother got some strong opinions. What he sees. But I want to tie that in, and as we run up on time, make sure we do talk about the policing aspect, because I think it does tie into that too. And the comfortability that some feel even in that aspect maybe. Donald Trump was pressed about, because you know his big thing is about how he wants to give full immunity to police. And so there was a pressing thing on that, and they brought up the Sonya Massey case, which that heartbreaking, horrifying case. And the way he treated it, the way he disregarded it, he was just like, oh yeah, I don't know much about it, but it's something about the water, right? Yeah, something looked like it wasn't maybe not done right or something there. And it was pressing on like, is this the type of person you want to give immunity to? And he could, you know, he was dodging. and trying to throw in all other kind of ad libs all over because, he definitely wants to give full immunity for, straight up murder going on with that cop is up, on trial now for murder in that case. We would talk a little bit before this. I know you had a point on policing too as well, and some thoughts on how we should handle that or what you feel like in our communities.
We police our own communities. Black folks should be policing our own communities. That woman she was having a mental breakdown. Her mother told the police to begin with, don't hurt her. She's having a mental breakdown. And you send Caucasian males in there, and they don't know how to communicate with a Black woman. When she said, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus," they should have known. If it was a Black person, he would have known. Oh boy.
I
think she saw that spirit. She saw the evil spirit on him.
Yeah. I don't think there was too much mental with that statement.
No.
I think that was a real statement because he immediately, the demon came
you see how
out.
aggressive he got as soon as she said that?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
demon was like,
not.
yeah.
The demon came out immediately after that remark. So, but really, if we don't start building the infrastructure in our communities, we'll be extinct in 25 years.
Not 25.
They'll have us out of
But
here.
it depends on brother. Carl, I know you had some. Did you want to say something about the Sonya Massey? I know we was talking beforehand.
Yeah, I'm just disgusted that people actually want to put this man in office, our people, to attack us, to basically have free immunity to gun us down at any point, anytime, no questions asked. You can't sue them. You can't, have them, go to jail and face consequences. And our own people are voting for that. Let's just think about that for a moment. That it really disgusts me. I mean, forget all the other policies that you want to talk about. We're talking about systemic murder being allowed to happen to all disadvantaged people. I mean, I hate. I saw the video. I looked at the
It
video.
does something to you.
It really does something to you. Because the funny thing was, I was looking at a TikTok video of this mother I follow. She has an autistic son. I'm actually here, I think, in Bowie, brother.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they're trying to introduce a bill where on like the driver's license, if somebody has a mental situation, like they're autistic or something, have something on the license so the police officer can, acknowledge that. Because you remember the case in Denver, I think it was Colorado,
Yeah,
where
that's
the
what I
boat
was thinking
did
about.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's great, but it won't matter.
Yeah.
We
They
got
ain't
people
looking
like
at
they
that
don't
point.
care. They'll see that. They're like, okay, what you want to do with this?
They coming with killing on the mind.
They come with killing and murder on the mind. So it's so important that this man does not win. I mean, if he wins, this country is just going to be destroyed. I mean, that's not hyperbole. It's just the truth. They're trying to just change everything in this country, from policing to the way the government's run to who's in charge. He already said, this will be your last election.
Yeah, when he's
Hey,
talking to the Christian voters,
yeah,
get out there and
the
vote.
Christians put me in here.
You
This will
won't
be
have
your
to
last.
anymore.
You don't have to vote anymore. He's saying the stuff out loud for us.
Yeah.
So I'm just really perplexed right now. I'm just hoping that we can pull this through. But that video really is so sickening and disturbing. And just like you said earlier, in the this conversation we're having, how that they were there the week prior, I believe you said.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they knew what was going on. And I feel bad for the son. The son definitely is going to have survivor's guilt because he
Yep.
feels bad because he was there the last time, but he got
Yeah.
held up at work or something, and he couldn't be there
Yeah.
this
It was like
time.
his first night not coming over. He had been coming over like every night.
Every night. So I'm just praying for, healing for the family. Like, this is just, it's tragic. This is one of the worst things I've ever seen. And we've seen some horrible stuff with policing.
Yeah, it's a sad, sad situation, man.
It is.